Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. Thank
You're
you.
so welcome.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm going to do led by truth. Okay, there's Bethany. I'm just going to fix my face because I'm super shiny right now. I'm going to just do this. Oh, here it is. Get rid of some of the shines. We're telling your followers that there's a live. Thank you very much. Let's see. I'm like, really, I need to get more lighting in my place here. I've invited Angel, so we're just waiting for Angel to pop on here. Hey, there she is. Okay, let me invite you. Okay, let's see. Send a request, view. Okay, go live with Led by Truth. I want to do something here. Boost this a little bit, get a little higher vision. Oh, yeah, so much better. Okay, now I got to pull up the questions. Okay, I'm getting it together. I'm being such an old person today. Sorry, everybody. I don't hear you, Angel. I don't know if I'm supposed to. Oh, let me see. Camera, accept camera. Okay, go live. There we go. Hopefully, hit the thing. Invite, accept, go live. Okay, I think I'm hearing something. Yay!
There.
Hey, look at us. Look at us.
Look at us go.
Look at us go. Okay, now I gotta. This is amazing. Okay. So it looks like it's just you and me right now. Let me see. Okay. Uh, uh, Okay. We'll give folks like one more minute. Well, how are you? Let's just do a quick check-in.
Yeah, good. Today's Monday, right? Yes, Monday. It is.
What planet are we on? Hold on.
Good, good. Productive. It's been a productive day.
Oh,
How about
good.
you?
Good. Yeah. I had to have a really, and I'm glad this is going on live because Makisha told me that I should do this. I had a really interesting conversation with a funder this morning and had to do some leading by truth. To just kind of talk about how the process has been highly problematic and not in alignment with building partnership and relationship. And so, but so glad to be sharing space with you as always.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you share those insights, and it's up to them to do with it what they will. But I'm sure it feels good. I think sometimes with us holding it in and be like, everything is fine, when it's like it's not fine. It probably does more harm than good.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I know folks are going to be joining us, so I'm going to do my hosting duties and read what I'm supposed to be reading here. Um, really, we're so glad for the folks that are going to be joining us. My name's Elaine Rasmussen. I am the founder and executive director of ConnectUP Institute. We are a social finance and enterprise development innovation studio supporting entrepreneurs across the state of Minnesota. And we are here because we are so excited to be bringing to the town our business growth with AI. And this is going to be a one-day event that's on November 15th. It is limited seating. So do not do the Minnesota thing and wait till the last minute because we will not have seats for you. Don't call for the hookup. Don't say, don't say like, hey, well, my cousin, Pookie, like, no, like we're not doing that. Like get your tickets. We are going to be selling out and tickets are going fast. So make sure that you get your tickets. But really the whole conference, I would say, is for entrepreneurs. It's for investors, as well as any organization that supports businesses across the Twin Cities. And quite frankly, in the region, to really learn about how can they leverage AI, not only in growing a small business, but also leveraging AI to support small businesses. So I hope we see you there. And today we're just going to be really having a conversation with Angel from Led by Truth. So, Angel, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, and while I get myself together and get all of my our conversation questions going.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Angel Eben. I'm the CEO and founder of Led by Truth, which is a nonprofit that supports emerging entrepreneurs of color as they grow and scale their business. And we do it through a couple different ways. We have a 12-month mentorship program that connects women of color business owners with a dedicated coach the entire 12 months. We connect them with a local business owner of color as a mentor. We also bring in other experts from accounting and marketing, also individuals of color, to create a well-rounded, melanated cocoon of support around them, as well as a little bit of grant funding to help boost their operational needs. But besides that, we also have other programming for early stage folks looking to develop out a strong foundation within their business model, as well as some growth strategy work too.
Love that, love that. And I love your line that you always say of like you're in the business of growing people.
Mhm.
And that's so amazing because there's usually a human behind the business. And so that human is really important. So in
Mhm.
Minnesota, like we're really have a lot of support and resources and events in Minnesota and the Twin Cities for founders. So sometimes it can be hard to cut through all of the noise and decide what makes sense for them to attend. Even this conference that or this mini summit that we're doing, how do you think it's best for somebody like an entrepreneur or an ecosystem partner to figure out what event is like good for them?
Yeah, I think a couple different ways. For sure, get over any inner introvert that you might be experiencing within and really get yourself out there. I think something that's very undervalued as you're starting a business is your social connections. So your social capital is huge, and that means expanding your network. That might mean finding events that might allow you to rub shoulders with people you may not come across in your normal circles. That might be one indication that that event could be right for you. Another one is, are you going to leave that event with some new knowledge that you can apply to your business? So if it's going to challenge the way that you operate, challenge the way that you think about your business, another indication that you should do that. And then third, and this is like my rule of thumb, can I have genuine connections with people? I don't like being talked at. I like to be involved in discussions. And so if I can show up as myself and leave with some new connections that I feel like could lead me somewhere, if it's just from friends to potential collaborators, I know that event was a positive experience for me.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things that I always talk about is, especially for our introverted friends, sometimes if you're an introvert, that can be super, super intimidating to go into a space where
Mhm.
you don't know anybody. So a couple of things that I like to share is, sometimes you can get a hold of the list of who's going to be there. And even if you don't, you know that a lot of these folks all go to the same event. So have your list of who are the two or three people you want to meet. And then once you've met them, leave. Like it's okay. Like it's okay to just like leave. Like you've done enough peopling for the time being. You put yourself out there, and so now it's time to like now you can go back home and get into your fuzzy slippers, right?
Yeah. I always have an exit plan. I mean,
Listen, that
you,
part, I stay with an exit plan. Like I go in way in advance knowing what my exit strategy is going to be. So you and I are going to be doing a panel with Luana Whitmore from Next Fem Financial. And so what tools and tips will you be sharing at the mini summit?
yeah. So some tools and tips, I'd say really how can AI help me and my business? So a lot of times, most folks, when they're starting out, it's just you and the mighty team of one, which that means you're wearing multiple hats. You're also learning new skills from managing your business finances to becoming some media and marketing expert, even though that might not be your path normally. So I do think AI can help alleviate some of those pain points with just not knowing what to look for. You can leverage AI to help drill down into your financials a little bit to see if there's trends that you're not seeing. Another way to leverage AI can also be with messaging. Not all of us are natural storytellers. With AI, though, you still need to have some core prompts to make sure that the messaging aligns with your mission and vision, as well as your own approach to your work. And so, how do you hone in on those prompts where you can generate if it's content or messaging or insights that are relevant to you.
Love that. Um, so, what advice would you give for any entrepreneurs who are currently seeking business support tools, not only just in the Twin Cities, but across the state? And we might have some folks that are in other cities. What would be the way that you would think that that you recommend to go about finding the resources that you might need for your small business?
Yeah, I'd say, especially in the earlier stage, is it going to save you time? Save you time while not sacrificing on quality of whatever that quality is for that output. But is it going to save me time? Will it allow me to focus on other aspects of my operations a little bit more because I'm not spending 20 plus minutes trying to do one thing? I can leverage AI to cut that down if even if it's 50%. Another tool or ways to evaluate tools is, will I need it now or will I need it for the future? I do think there's benefits of planning for the future. And so some of these tools that you might have access to, it may not be able to be applied for now, but as you're expanding your team, it could come in handy. As you're expanding your operations, now you might have a more robust way of managing your inventory. So also thinking through the phase of growth. Do you need it now? Do you need to plan for it later? Would be my advice.
I love that. What I try to do is even give that more qualification. So I'll say to folks that come to me, what's the problem you need to solve in the next 30 days? Right? Because
Mhm.
sometimes running a business, it can be so big and you're thinking so all the problems all happening at the same time. So sometimes it gets easier to just like, okay, what is the most significant problem that would have the greatest impact if I
Mhm.
solved it? Right. And qualifying that to like the next 30 or 60 days. I think the other thing that's really valuable to know about AI is there are different AI tools for different purposes. Like one tool isn't the shotgun that's just going to be solve all your problems, but
Mhm.
that each tool has its gifts, right? Just like humans, there are some people who are really good presenters. There are some people who are really good sellers. There are some people. Well, these open AI tools, these GPT tools, are also the same way. They have the thing that they are best suited for. So I really try to encourage folks to really think about and actually look at the homepage of the business and
Mhm.
what are they telling you is that this is best suited for and use it for that. So I have a couple of tools that I use. There's one that I use for marketing and communications. I have another one that helps me write proposals. I have another one that helps me write emails. So really kind of figuring out, like, I think to your point, what are the things that I need? And then finding the tool that um, and then finding the tool that's going to help me. So that's great. So where can people find and support Led by Truth?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find and support us by visiting our website, www.ledbytruth.org. But also we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're also on LinkedIn. But we love to show up for our collaborators, of course, like Connect Up. So you can see us also hosting our own session on AI. So reclaiming your time with AI at the upcoming mini summit in November. Um, but yes, we try and stay everywhere, but also within our space of capacity as we can.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about Led by Truth. Why don't you share with the audience a little bit more about what you're programming and what you offer that maybe is different in some of our other ecosystem partners so people can get a better understanding of Led by Truth being the right program for them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think that to your point, if it's a business coach or a program, every program has their pros and like key approach and aspects that really make them unique in this ecosystem. So I'd say for us, we do focus on how do we grow that person behind the business, that human behind the business, through building their understanding around their financials. And sometimes it's leaning in a little bit as we try and lean out of the things that make us uncomfortable. Helping them really think through a phase approach to scale. Like if anyone could snap their fingers, of course, we're going to have a business that looks exactly what we want it to look like, even though it may take us 10 plus years to get there. But the truth is, we have to phase it. We may not be able to launch all of our service lines or all of our products at once because we only have the capital to do one thing at a time. And the piece around our programming that I do think sets us apart. We we really encourage people to take their time, to take a step back, and that shouldn't be seen as failing. That should just be seen as like, hey, we got some new information from our customers or our market, and now we need to adjust our approach based off of that input that we're receiving. And helping individuals who are maybe generally visionaries, like they have this big picture, but they're not very great at executing, helping them lean in and grow their operational abilities so they can be more effective at executing on their strategic vision for their business.
Great. So going back to the conversation of AI, like what do you think are maybe some of the pitfalls, or where do you think maybe business owners are getting hung up with incorporating AI into their business?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes all or nothing. I had this business owner that I was coaching last year that, we were working on a business plan, and they just used ChatGPT to create the entire thing, but they couldn't tell me anything within it. They couldn't tell me their market potential. They couldn't tell me their costs. So if we just opt for technology to do all the things for us, we're going to be in the same spot that we started really uninformed in our markets without a clear vision or how to even execute on it. And we are no longer a subject matter expert of our business. And so when we use technology to do all the things in replace of our own minds and our own thoughts and abilities, that's where it kind of falls short. Lastly, no bank lender or any type of funder is going to take a business plan that's generated by ChatGPT because they know if you understand your business or not. So I think it's when people do this all or nothing thing and they don't put their own thoughts within the prompts. They don't start with some type of frame of reference or context. And that's how AI can be leveraged really smartly and wisely. They're using aspects of things that we've already thought out and are enhancing it. It's an enhancement versus the end all be all to a production of something. So I think looking at more of how can I enhance my own messaging to resonate a little bit better? How can I leverage the information that I do know about my market to uncover some additional insights that might be missing? Like looking at AI through that lens versus just create this thing for me and now I'm going to send it out to the public.
Yeah, and I see AZAC Attack kind of put in a comment here. Your insight and advice on this approach would be valuable. If you can give us a little bit more detail, we're happy to discuss that a little bit more. But
Mhm.
I want to go back to what you were saying of, yeah, there's this over reliance that can get folks into trouble. And because somebody who's reading it, while you might think oh yeah, they did a great job. Somebody who's reading it and then wanting to ask you questions about what's in it. If you do not have some grasp of this thing has said the story better than I tell the story, but you still really need to know the story. You still need to know your numbers. You still need to understand how much does it cost you to get your next customer? At what
Mhm.
point will you buy enough where you start to get a volume discount on your raw materials? At what point, right? Like you're going to need to be able to answer those questions. And I love what you said about it's AI can be an enhancement to like help you maybe especially if English isn't your first language, to be able to tell a better story, but it still has to be your story. And
Mhm.
you need to be able to answer for that because it will become very, very clear very, very quickly, if not in the written word, when they talk to you. So remember, like your business plan is just the written part of it. It gets you in the door when people don't want to meet you up front. That will
Mhm.
get you the door for them want to pick up the phone and talk to you. So once again, you kind of really, as you were saying, really need to have a really clear understanding of what is this thing? How do you plan to make it grow? For every dollar that I give you, what are you going to turn that dollar into? Are you going to turn that into $1.50 because now I'm able to buy some equipment, or are you going to be able to turn it into $3? Right? How can you assure me that whatever I'm giving you as far as capital goes, you're going to be able to give that back to me, whatever the agreement is, whether it's a debt structure or whether it's an investment and you've got to pay dividends. But so I think some of that gets lost in this conversation. What excites you about where AI can take small business?
I really do think it can be, especially if it's integrated within other systems that we use, if it's from our like contracting and invoicing systems to inventory management. It can streamline things. And knowing that the cost of labor is so expensive, and of course we want to build out these teams, but again, it's chicken or the egg. Do we have the capital to invest in right away for humans to help us drive, or do we supplement some of our capacity limitations with enhancements through technology? So I see that, especially for early stage folks, as a way to streamline a few things. But I also do think too, when we have to put on a new hat as a CEO of a business, that means we're now becoming everyday learners of our industry. And I think sometimes when I work with business owners and I have them do market research, because again, I shouldn't know more about your business than you should. But that can be a stopping point for people of like, I don't know where to look right away. Well, AI can be a starting point. It can give you some insights. Then you can use those insights to dig deeper on your own. If it's showing you that there could be potential for growth because trends are showing it, well, what else can you then leverage that new insights to research through Google, to looking at business journals to understand a little bit more exactly how is the market growing. So I do think it can get you unstuck when it's hard for you to understand like what to search for or what to look for in certain things, especially if it's unknown to you, like market industry trends or financial growth opportunities or cost, like how to be a little bit more efficient within your productivity of your business, especially if it's product-based business. So I think it can give you a little bit of insights to then get unstuck in your journey of uncovering, again, key aspects of your business.
So we've had some folks join us. So shout out to Try Modern Kind and to Start Out Community. We're talking about AI and small business growth. So feel free to drop a question in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. So I agree, and I think I remember you and I were talking offline, and I love what you said of like trust but verify, right? So what you get from
Yep.
ChatGPT, you should go and ask for the source that it was cited from, because GPT is not always going to tell you the truth, right? And we'll have a whole thing about fake news right now. So really going in and double checking the sources and making sure that those sources are actual real sources. Because if you put that in and somebody else goes and checks, you just imagine how you're going to look. You're going to look foolish. You're going to look untrustworthy, and you won't get the capital or the partnership that you're looking to get because you overly relied on GPT. Why do you think small businesses are afraid of AI or GPTs?
Um, I think probably for a couple of reasons. I'd say depending on the age of the business owner and their team, like I don't mind technology, but I'm also have this like aversion to embed new things. Like you're making me like relearn a system. Now it's going to take me some time. How am I going to do that? So I do think it's just this piece on there's new technology all the time. Is it really going to last? Should I really learn this thing or is it going to fade away? The other point could be, it's, yeah, how do you trust it to be accurate? Because it can embellish depending on, again, if your prompts are key. And so how do you really learn the right prompts to ensure that there's accuracy behind what's generated? So I think it's just a time thing. But also there's so many AI platforms and that are out there that have popped up from beyond and even Chat GPT that everyone's like, where do I start? Do I use Jasper? Do I use this other thing? I don't know where to start. So I think it's sometimes being overwhelmed and inundated with all the different options. So it's going to take some time. You're going to tackle a lot of things. You're going to then hone in on the right platform that works best for you and your approach, if it's approach to messaging or what you're seeking. But it's allowing yourself the time to just learn and discover what systems work best for you, as well as what could be integrated in your current systems that you're using.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that popped up in the lunar program, that I don't remember if it was this recent cohort or the previous cohort, but somebody said, "Well, isn't that cheating?" And I thought, okay, no, it's not. But even if it was, Who cares? We've been left behind for a very long time. We deserve like a little catch up. Like we need something that puts us over the line there. What are your thoughts about AI and the concept and the notion of like it's cheating?
I don't think it's cheating. Like I would consider myself, I love spreadsheets. I love Excel. I love Google Sheets. I love my formulas. But there are some formulas where I'm like, oh, something that's complex that's pulling from multiple different documents. I don't want to use my brain for an hour to try and figure out exactly which one's going to work. I put that stuff in ChatGPT. In seconds, I get the exact formula that I was seeking versus me trying to research, uncover, dig, test, and pilot. So for me, it saves me time. Is it cheating? Not really. In my head, I had an idea of what I was trying to create. I just don't know all the formulas. There's a crap ton. And so I think it's, again, looking at is working smarter, not always harder. I think we make things harder on ourselves because we don't leverage systems effectively. And again, if we were a bigger corporation and organization, we'd have all the experts that we need in every single type of role. We don't, right? Because we're starting out. So how can we lean into technology different where we see it as an asset to our business and to our dynamics internally?
And one of the things that I talk about, and even before AI came along, I say, we are in the business of selling our time as business owners. You might make a product, but you are in the business of selling your time. And so what are you dedicating your time to? And if something, to your point earlier, can save you 50%, instead of taking you an hour, it now took you 5 minutes. Why wouldn't you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You have all these other things that you need to manage as a business owner, particularly a small business owner. Why would, if you could delegate something, but also this notion of, I like to say in my office, I don't pay you to struggle. So I even tell my team, I say, listen, I don't pay you to struggle. I don't pay you to struggle. If you've been working on something for 30 minutes and you have not figured it out, you are not the person to figure it out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not, somebody might hear that and be like, oh, that's not a nice thing to say. It's a true thing to say. Like I'm not the right person. If I've got to struggle with something for 30 minutes, let me go find somebody else who can help me with the answer. And if that somebody else is, like my friend Luana says, my boyfriend Chat GPT, like then that's what I'm gonna do because I can't tell you, especially as a business owner, I don't know about you, Angel, but I'm like an Alzheimer patient. I start to sunset around 4 o'clock after in the afternoon. Like there's nothing else in the tank, right? There's just nothing else. And
Mm-hmm.
if I really have to get an important email out, and that email, I just don't have the brain power to craft it. Like, and a GPT or an AI puts it together for me, and all I got to do is change a couple of words. Well, that just saved me because I wouldn't have been useful, and I probably would have been struggling writing that email for like an hour, and I got it done in 5 minutes. And guess what? It's off my plate now. I don't have to think about it anymore. It's done. Now all I have to do is wait for the response from the other person, and like I can move on. So, I am just such a big fan of working smarter, not
Mm-hmm.
harder. And that's how I like to think about these tools. It's like this is really about working smarter, not harder, particularly with your operations, right? So one of the things that I don't think people leverage enough with AI is asking it questions to find out what are the questions you should ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if I were going into a meeting with an investor, what questions would you ask me? What questions should I be prepared for? It's going to give you a list
Mm-hmm.
of questions that you should probably think about that have been culminated from the web. And I think that's another thing that I'm not sure people understand. Like, it's grabbing all this information that already exists on the web to give you answers. So that is another reason why you want to trust but verify because it can give you answers that are conflicting. It can give you
Mm-hmm.
answers that are inappropriate. It can give you answers. So to be able to go through that critical thinking process once you get anything from AI to kind of think through and maybe even test it out with humans of like, hey, this is a list of questions that I got from an AI source of what to expect to go in an investor meeting. What's been your experience or what have you heard or whatever, right? So once again, this whole trust but verify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even to add on to that point, not only asking ChatGPT or whatever AI tool questions that you would want to ask the investors, you could maybe have your pitch deck kind of drafted, submit it as an attachment, and ask ChatGPT what needs more clarifying, what's unclear. And now it's going to look at it generally and give you some pointers, give you some prompts. But again, if you're preparing for something, what a great way of getting some additional insights. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to change everything, but it's giving you another perspective to think about. Even what type of questions would an investor have after viewing my pitch deck?
Yeah,
You just never know.
exactly. So once again, I want to throw it out to the folks watching. Thanks so much for joining our live. Please feel free to put in a question around either general business questions or questions about growing your business with AI. We love to hear them. We're going to be on for like another probably 60 to 90 seconds, but would love to hear from you. But I do want to make a plug. We have our Business Growth with AI Summit that's happening November 15th. Tickets are selling fast. It is a limited number of seats. So if you haven't registered, I think there's a link in our link tree. There's a link, I think, in our bio. Please feel free to register. You're going to see Angel and myself there. We've got a great panel with Luana Whitmore from Next Fem Financial. So we're super excited to have to kick off that conversation. So as we kind of get here into the finish line, we've just had Maggie join us. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just getting ready to wrap up. So any lasting thoughts or comments that you want to make sure that people think about as they're thinking about incorporating AI into their small business?
Yeah. Do do kind of a catalog of where are you feeling stuck? Where are you spending a lot of time, sort of like admin time? And then start to research and identify, well, is there a tool for that? Is there a tool that even if it saves me 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes less of a headache trying to figure out some type of solution? And again, if it is for email management, if in my nature of the work that I do, I work with a lot of business owners, and so there's always like post-session action items. If I spent all my time writing up those post-session action items, I'd spend hours each day drafting out emails. I use an AI transcript, and you can search it, you can have it summarize everything that you need. So where are the pieces that you're feeling like you're spending a lot of time on that you could volley over aspects of that to some type of an AI tool that can save you time? That might be a good starting point. And then secondly, if you can make it to the summit, like you're gonna get a lot of insights. You might probably also get a list of all those, some of those other resources as well for you to validate from that pain point list that you're creating of here are the headaches. Now, what are these options that can be my aspirin for some relief?
Yeah, and I just to add on to that, I think also thinking about your processes. Are there pieces of your process that you can automate? Because that's also part of AI. AI is not just about a GPT where you can dump in, but it's also like, hey, creating a workflow. That also takes things off of your plate. If you can automate some of your sales cycle, if you can automate some of your response to vendors, if you can automate, right, when somebody puts in a thing, it responds with an email or a question. I know that's how we have our intake set up when people come to us at ConnectUP and they say, hey, I was referred to you by such and such, and maybe it's Elevate Hennepin, whatever. And then we have an automatic email that says, okay, tell us what's the problem you need to solve in the next 90 days and tell us a little bit about your business. So then we can match you up with a coach, right? So we have that piece automated. We do have one closing question here, which is what is an AI tool that you have found not useful? Interesting.
I mean, I have one that came to mind. I don't necessarily think it's business related, but I know a lot of platforms like, let's say, Facebook. I know we're on Instagram, but they've actually have embedded AI within their search toolbar. But sometimes I just want to search something and I don't want to speak to Meta AI afterwards if they can't find it. So, I mean, I think even when you're looking at that too from customer facing, what are the tools I'm using that might be customer facing that could leave them with experience that's like subpar? So I think the verse can be said too of even thinking and being in the shoes of your customers or clients. If you were interacting with this software technology, will it leave you with a good experience? Is it going to create more headaches? Are you in this like weird tailspin of chatting with a bot, or are you getting the solutions that you're seeking?
Yeah, I agree. I would say the tools that I found not useful are when platforms have embedded AI in some, like we have a CRM, one of our CRM systems, and the iterations over the last several years where they put in AI as a native part of it, like has not always gone well. And I've had to turn that off or not use that feature because the AI part of that feature is actually, to your point, creating a bad either user experience or customer experience. So once again, I think these are things that you have to think about as a business owner of like tests. If you're going to be automating any kind of your process or you're using AI or a chat bot to be respond to customers, like do tests. I
Mhm.
can't stress enough. Do testing, 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 because what you don't want is you don't want to lose a customer over something because you were like you didn't experiment. So check with experiment with a group of people that you know that are forgiving. And then once you've done that, then implement it fully. So, but I know I've got a couple of things that I've got to say to you as closing. So I just want to thank, we're going to be landing here on landing the plane here. So, but thank you, Angel, so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us today. We're so excited to learn more from you and our impressive list of speakers that will be at the Wilder Center in St. Paul on November 15th. Make sure, don't run, walk, don't run, run, don't walk. I did that messed up before. Um, to register because I don't want you to miss out. I don't want you to be coming on my next live saying, Elaine, we couldn't make it. Like, what happened? And like, listen, I'm telling you, when I say we only have a limited amount of seats, I'm not playing with y'all. We only have a limited amount of seats. But I also want to thank the viewers for joining us and asking questions. And if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you better act fast because tickets are going very, very quickly. But you can go and head to connectupmn.org, or there's a link in our Instagram bio to secure your spot, and make sure you share with your friends. That's another good way. Like, don't come alone. Bring one or two people, other business owners, or maybe if you have a mentor that you're working with, invite your mentor to this. This could be great for them as well. But once again, I want to thank everybody. Thank you again to Angel, and thank you to my staff who helped me, the old person, get on here. To be able to talk with all of y'all. Thank you. Thank you to Bethany and Marsha and Natalie. Big shout outs. But thanks again. And we'll see you guys at the next live. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.